props.
These are my props. It was on a beach. It's made out of wood.
Good morning. Welcome to the November 15th, 2023 board meeting for HOA 2. So thanks for coming. We have a turkey buffet that will be available to us at the end. We didn't want to tell everybody because we knew more than about 20 people would show up. So anyway, welcome to the HOA 2 board meeting. Let us stand. I'll call this board meeting to order, by the way. Let us stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Given the fact that it's recently Veterans Day, I want to say thank you for the service of all of our veterans. I was at the Brook this morning getting a cup of coffee, which is available to everyone. You can stop by, have a cup of coffee, cappuccino, whatever. And they have some incredible information about our veterans on the television screens. If you have a chance to stop by and take a look, they've really done a great job with that. But thank you to all of our veterans and to the service they have provided. So thank you. Okay, the first order of business, first of all, we'll introduce our board members. We do have one that was not able to attend. Denise Lexell is not able to be here. She and her husband, I think, are in Florida visiting their children and grandchildren at this point in time. So we'll miss her, but she did give the capability of a proxy vote, I believe, to Mr. Cambick. So if we do get to a crunch, we do know how she would vote. So anyway, so I'll pass this along.
Mark Eckert, HOA Vice President.
Sean Kreiderman, Director.
Campbell Cheney, Treasurer.
Matt Cambick, Assistant Treasurer.
Chuck Hill, Secretary.
Walter Yazzie, General Manager.
Charlie Shawlitz, Recording Secretary.
All right, thank you. And I'm Dan Lundiger, President of HOA 2. So the first item on our agenda, in fact, the agendas are in the back on the table as you enter Desert View. If you don't have one, you can go back and get it. But the agendas are there for your use and reference. The first item on our agenda is the approval of minutes from our October 25th, 2023. 19, my God, how many years ago was that? Lord. Okay, 2023 board meeting. Do I have a motion from someone on the board to approve those minutes?
I'll move, so.
All right. Sean, second? Okay, Mark, second. Any conversation, any comments on those board minutes? Thank you, Charlie, for doing those. They look very good. Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, they have been approved. We're going to move on to Walter Yazzie's report, General Manager's report. So Walter, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Dan. Let me just start out by saying again, my staff and I appreciate the residents here. It's great to see you all coming back, those that we've missed during the summer. And we're grateful to have you back here and enjoying the different activities and supporting the activities that the staff has planned and put out for you this season. And having said that, I know we're coming on Thanksgiving, so I'd just like to wish all of you a happy Thanksgiving, and hopefully you get to visit with family and stay away from the hot topics at the dinner table. but enjoy your family during these holidays. I'm just going to be real quick on different things the staff has been working on. As you know, it's been about a couple months now that we've been using North Star, so Terry and Dave are getting the financial reports back in order. Looks like we're hitting about day 10 in the month to get reports. Our goal is a little bit shorter than that, so Terry's still working on tuning our financial statements up. Again, we're looking forward to seeing the 2024 budget, because once that is approved, then the staff gets to work on executing that budget. Behind the scenes, we're also working on a purchase order process just for our staff to keep ourselves organized a little bit better this year, or this coming year. Again, this holiday season, we're seeing an increase in requests for gift cards and things like that at the desk. So if you can, make your reservations at the admin desk to get these cards, and that'll make the process a lot quicker for you. Let's see here, on to common areas. Okay, so common areas, again, you know, we're continuing to work on level 5, and as you came to the Desert View Theater today, you probably went by the workers on Clubhouse Drive. You can see that they're working along there. One of the other things they're taking on, the common area folks are looking at each of the clubhouses. They're starting here at Desert View, so they're starting to look at the vegetation and, you know, looking at the type of vegetation. So they're going to start sprucing up the clubhouses as they go along here, starting at Desert View and working their way north. They're also, again, looking at drainage. You know, winter rains are coming, so the common area crew is also looking at the different drainage areas. So common area crew is getting healthier. You know, I mean, for quite a while we continued to say we were short there. We're getting pretty close to manned up there, so now we're starting to see them moving along as we'd like to see them move. So fitness center, again, people are back, so fitness center is getting really busy. The different classes, personal training is being booked up. Massages are doing well. Again, we got that massage room. Lots of classes are full with wait lists. And, you know, we brought on the Rincon room, so that's also being utilized. The spinners and the TRX, and I see dancers in there in the evening, so that room is definitely being used as we planned. Food and beverage, a big thing for food and beverage now is, of course, Thanksgiving is upon us. So up at the Preserve, that reservations for Thanksgiving dinner are full, so now they've got a waiting list up there. Reservations down at the Mountain View Bar and Grill for Thanksgiving buffet. They're not quite full, but looks like right now we've got about 375 reservations, so they're getting close to full. I think we have about 400 seats there. And also the New Year's Eve tickets have already gone on sale, so be looking for those also. All right, lifestyles. Looks like if you're a club and you would like to register, the registration is going to be happening on November 16th, which is tomorrow. So plan on getting your club registered. The banquet staff, of course, is getting ready for Thanksgiving. They'll be working over the weekend to get ready for Thanksgiving. And let's see, over to golf. So golf maintenance, of course, the Mountain View Golf Course renovation project is still ongoing. Preserve is open from the overseed and back to normal cart rules. They're working on agronomic planning for 2024. So, yeah, I know, I got to strike those out so I don't have to stumble over those. Let's see here. Multi-vendor fitting day is going to be on November 17th, which is this Friday. Email Matt and Mike to schedule a fitting. So Preserve, let's see, we talked about that. The new golf fitness classes begin on December 7th. So it looks like there's a combination golf class here, which starts December 7th. It's in the Rincon room for instruction, and then you go out to the range tee at the range tee at Mountain View. So it says you can sign up on 4 tees. I'm assuming there's still some slots available for that. All right, and then on down to IT. Of course, everything runs on IT, so in the background, Steve Hernandez is working, making sure our IT system is working well. Now, we've had a recent bug, and we found this on Sunday, where the iPads at the restaurant weren't sending the order back to the kitchen. We got Steve on it as soon as he got in on Monday, and I think we've figured out there was some old cabling glitches. Some of our cables failed, which is kind of odd, but I think he tracked down the problem, so I hope that we have that fixed so we don't have any more problems in the restaurant. Marketing, of course, is working hard to support all of our different activities, all the flyers and all that, all the different pushes you see on the app and on the website. That's all developed from marketing, and the marketing team works closely with the different directors to get that information out. And that pretty much covers what's going on with the staff. So Ray has
Walter,
some operational information.
before you throw it to Ray, I want to congratulate Ray and Mike and the Common Area Maintenance Team for the work on Winding Trail. In previous board meetings, that's been brought up as a concern for insurance purposes. That entire west wall has been pushed back 40 feet. That work was completed earlier, about 3 weeks ago, by the Common Area Maintenance Team. I've walked it. It was a fabulous job, so I want to make sure I publicly acknowledge that work.
Thank you, Matt.
Let me, Ray, if I make a quick comment, just a couple of other notes that I wanted to highlight. We have an employee appreciation luncheon on December 8th. You guys have seen it in email blasts. I think you've seen it in your tubes at your mailbox. Employee appreciation is a big deal. It's a big day. It's our way of saying thanks to all of our employees. We have roughly 180 employees here, plus we have Troon employees here as well. Part of that is an appreciation that we give financially to our employees. It's a very unique experience. Very few HOAs do anything like that, but it relies on all of us, homeowners, to contribute. If we feel that our employees have done a great job for us this year, then we contribute money, and that money is just dispersed to each individual employee. I remind you of that. I think Roger told us that the time for giving is, I think, 24th of November is the last day. So we got about a week or so, or just before Thanksgiving. So please bear that in mind. It's really it's a good day for the employees, and they really, really do appreciate your appreciation of them as well. I'll mention that. Last thing I wanted to say is I'm trying to sell here a little bit, trying to help my brother Troons up there, but we're still selling annual passes. We began selling annual passes for golf. We have 27 great holes of golf. You get free golf in November and December if you're a new annual pass buyer. That promotion is going on. It's really very active. We've been selling quite a few of those, but I remind you that that is ongoing. So if you're thinking about playing a lot of golf, playing annual golf, now's the time. If you weren't an annual pass holder in 2023, if you're a new annual pass holder, now's the time to think about that. Great offer. Anyway, that's enough. I'll stop selling. Ray, tell us about projects.
All right. Thank you, Dan. Good morning, everyone. I would also like to wish you a happy Thanksgiving. Enjoy your time and safe travels. One of my favorite things, next slide, please, a deep tissue massage in a warm and cozy setting. We have that for you. It's in the Desert View Theater, the Desert View Fitness Center. We've recently constructed what was the training office into a massage room, and you can schedule a massage Monday through Friday, first and third Saturdays, or first and third Saturdays. And we have 3 therapists on staff currently, and we're looking to add a 4th. So if you, like me, enjoy a nice massage, please go ahead and do that. We'd rather you would do it here than, down in Oro Valley or somewhere else. So we've created this for you. Please take advantage of it. I'm going to run through some projects. We're nearing the end of the year. I've said this before. So most of the projects are nearing completion, but we have recently completed the Preserve Golf parking cover. There is one last thing to do there, which is to install lighting for the golf employees so that they can work safely. We are very sensitive to the fact that we need that light to be directional, down, not laterally across the fairways to people's homes. So believe me, our staff understands that, and we will complete that lighting project appropriately. I don't hear any noise on the roof this morning, which is probably a good sign. That project is nearing completion. The thermoplastic rubber roof, if you will, is nearing the end. We've had the manufacturer out, and they've inspected. They've made some recommendations for some final tweaks. This is important because they must approve the installation so that they can warranty the job. And so there's just a few minor tweaks being made there for that completion. Next slide, please. Preserve flagstone. So we have recently completed complete cleaning of the flagstone there. Flagstone's a bit interesting in that it's very porous, so it likes to collect dirt. We had a bid from a third-party contractor for $15,000 to clean and seal that flagstone. We've decided to take that in-house. We purchased, at minimal cost, a steam cleaner, and our internal staff completed that work. Take a look. It's vastly improved, and it's been sealed, so hopefully that will stand up to the test of time. Thank you. Next slide. Unit 28 along Desert Bluff, we have done some restoration of the common area walls and painted them. So that work is complete. You can see from the photos that there was a lot of step cracks involved, and so good job by our third-party contractor there.
I think that's Unit 23, Ray.
Oh, sorry. 23, not 28. And lastly, as Matt and Walter have indicated, the level 4 and level 5 landscape maintenance teams are active. Did a great job along Winding Trail, and they are currently working along Clubhouse Drive. As I drove down here this morning, I looked across the way there toward the villas, and I actually saw a pretty significant riprap wall there. Didn't actually even know it was there. So, we can actually see see the riprap wall, and I know there's some sensitivity to the noise of the cars for those residents, but yeah, I don't know. There are always some negatives, I suppose, but from my perspective, it looks like it's been maintained, not like the jungle. So great job by the level 4 and 5 team there. We are working on a schedule. I've been asked by many, when are you going to be behind my house? I'd like to keep a close eye on things. I appreciate that and respect it. We haven't put together that complete view yet, but it's coming very shortly. So we will be publishing that schedule in the next few weeks. And that's all I have for you today. Thank you.
All right, Ray, thank you very much. Good stuff. Okay, I'm going to turn this over to Chuck Kill for a nomination to Rules and Regs. Chuck?
Thanks, Dan. I just want to move to allow Mike Lean, nominate him to be in the Rules and Regulation Committee.
All right. Is there a second? Second? Matt seconds. Any discussion? No? Is Mike here? He's in Mexico. Oh, cool. Okay. We will do it in absentia. Okay, no comments? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? All right. Congratulations, Michael. We'll see you when you get back, and good luck with your work on the Rules and Regs Committee. So that's great. All right, the next on the agenda is Matt Cambeck. He has two topics he wants to bring us up to speed on. The first is strategic planning, and the second is the Mountain View Golf renovation. So Matt, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Thanks, Dan. Thanks, Joey. Next slide. I want to take you through the journey and bring you up to speed where we are, and talk a little bit about how we're going to present our new strategic plan to you all. We started back in January and February, where we interviewed 3 firms. In March, the board selected the McMahon Group. On 10 April, we executed the contract with the McMahon Group, and we committed to producing a strategic plan the McMahon way. Next slide, Joey. We started with our focus groups, which began on 5 and 6 June. 5 focus groups were executed. That led to the production of our survey, which the residents participated in 17 July through 8 August. We achieved a 51% response rate, which McMahon Group felt was an excellent response. In August, the board received 2 reports to help us on our journey with the production of our master plan. Volume 1 was a little bigger version than the report that we sent you all in September, and Volume 2 was 668 pages of comments and suggestions on how this board can improve our community. Next slide, Joey. So this is a little McMahon Group propaganda, and I embraced it because it's precisely what we're going to do. We've completed the Phase 1 activities, which are the key building blocks for our long-range planning. The survey will have significant standalone value and impact. I assure you it's been many days of reading, and it will be essential in clarifying our community strategy, our strategic plan, and next year in developing our facilities master plan. Next slide, Joey. So in September, the board completed a strategic issues survey. This was to provide inputs for the board retreat we would have at the end of the month. On 29 and 30 September, the board did have a 2-day retreat. We reviewed the survey data. We did a deep dive. They brought in their data expert from Chicago to go through all the data with us. We walked through the key initiatives that McMahon Group had gleaned from the survey data, and we walked through the process for how we were going to get our strategic plan pulled together. From that retreat, we went home with homework. Next slide, Joey. That homework was we had to produce a draft mission statement, vision statement, and values for our strategic plan. And so we did a fabulous job in one morning of pulling that together, and then we spent a couple of weeks arm wrestling with one another on wordsmithing and refining and challenging one another on had we really provided the clarity and thinking that we were interested in. At the end of October, we provided that mission statement, vision statement, and the values to the McMahon Group. This week, The board is finalizing our SWOT, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, and our goals and objectives. We've been working on this for about 3 weeks now, and we owe it to McMahon Group by Friday this week. So we're on version 3 of our SWOT. We've been through numerous edits with our goals and objectives. Next slide, please. So the first thing I'd like to do is congratulate my fellow board members, Walter Yazzie and Ray Kuhn, who are all part of this strategic planning initiative. Thanks for hanging in there with me. Thanks for dealing with all the edits and editing that we've been through. I have to check and make sure I'm on the right slide. Okay. So this week we have to finish our discussing and cussing. We don't cuss really. Over the SWOT and goals and objectives, and we'll get those launched. And we are planning for the strategic plan town hall that we're going to execute, and I'm going to brief that to you in a second. What's the outcome of producing this strategic plan? It is our intent, our collective intent, the board and our general manager, to create organizational alignment with the board, the staff, and all of our advisory committees. And we all have one collective objective: to build a better community for all of our residents. Next slide. So the strategic plan town hall is for you. It's so you can become intimate with the work that's taken us the greater part of this year to complete. You're going to receive everything that we know about that strategic plan. And I will tell you that the experts from McMahon Group are coming here with us. I've asked for the data expert to come back so he can share his genius with you on relaying back to you what you told to us. And then Kevin Carroll is going to take you through the process that he has led for us since we signed the contract with him. And then we, the board, and Walter and Ray will present to you our strategic plan. We're going to do it here in the Desert View Theater. We're going to do it on Wednesday, 10 January, 1 to 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And the reason why we're doing it is to illuminate to each of you that we heard your voice and we are responding to that voice and moving forward. That's all I have, Dan.
Okay, thank you. So January 10 will be the meeting. There is I will say this, it's not in the agenda, but there's also going to be a board meeting in the morning of January 10th. It's an organizational meeting required by our bylaws, if you will, within the first 10 days of the year. So there'll be a board meeting at 10 o'clock, and 1 o'clock then we'll reconvene for the strategic plan update. A lot of this material will be available to you before that meeting, so you'll have a chance to digest it, read it. So we're not doing it without allowing you some time to at least think through what the end result looks like. So anyway, looking forward to January 10th. All right, Matt, any board comments? Anybody else got a comment for Matt or want to raise him up a bit and say thanks for all your hard work? I think we should do that. Okay, we'll move on. Mountain View construction update, Matt.
Next slide, Joey. This is my favorite subject. As I review with you each month when I do these updates, I put up the stakeholders. You will see that the list has grown significantly this month. Steve Robeson is still the owner of Desert Reflections. Mike Gogol is still our course architect. Marvin Mills is still our irrigation consultant. 3 new names have been added to the team. Dave Nichols is the Executive Vice President for Global Science and Agronomy at Troon. Dave's been on the ground here with us in the last 2 weeks. David Stout is the Director of Science and Agronomy. He's here in Tucson. He's been out to see Paul twice in the last couple of weeks. And Jeff Poling is the Vice President for Golf Course Development. Mark, what day did we have him? Yeah. In the last couple of days, Jeff was here and to look at the construction that's ongoing on the front nine. And I'm going to tell you why all this is important here in a second. Paul Halleck is our Director of Agronomy, is a key player. And then the 3 board members that have been deeply immersed in watching this project ongoing for 6.5 months here is Dan, Mark, and myself. Next slide, Joey. So in the past, what I told you was the revised target date was 1 December, and we didn't know when the course might be available for play. What I can share with you today is we're confident 1 December will not be the completion date. I do have some good news, is that a few weeks ago we changed the priority and focus of the contractor, and that was to get all the T-decks grassed as early as we could. And there were 5 sets of T-decks that got grassed on Saturday, 4 November. So those T-decks just got grassed this month. Excuse me. My phone was ringing in my ears. Holes 2 and 9 were sodded, and when I say sodded, I'm talking about tens of thousands of square feet of sod were laid on holes 2 and 9 this past Friday. Major sod requirements are remaining on holes 3, 6, and 7. That means we've done a lot of area disturbance on those holes. Or I would say we blew them up and rebuilding them. Next slide, Joey. So we have concerns. We, the board, have concerns. What is the actual construction completion date? What are the impacts of the onset of winter and frost conditions? As you know, the temperatures, the nighttime temperatures are starting to hit the 40s, and that's bad for ground temperatures related to Bermuda growth. And so that leads to the sod that still has to be put down. We're sitting here on November 15th, and we have a lot of sodding that needs to be done as well as construction work. And when can the course be made available for play? Well, I've become really smart about a lot of things, but I don't have the answers to any of those questions. So this Friday, we have asked for a meeting with Team Troon. That's David Nichols and David Stout and Paul and Jeff Poling. Jeff was the gentleman from the construction side of the house. And we've asked our project manager to join Dan and Mark and myself so we can get answers to these questions, so we can provide answers to you all. Next slide. So here's the scorecard I show you every month. We still have 6 bunkers to be built. We still have 5 sand cap areas in front of greens to be built and completed. We still have some irrigation to be completed on hole number 7. And all that red stuff, the big block down there, has to do with sod. And so we have a lot of questions and very few answers, and I apologize for that. But I hope to have better answers for you on Friday after we meet with all these experts. That's all I have, sir.
All right, thanks, Matt. You know, work is ongoing. Work is every day. Every day there's tons of people out there doing work. Obviously, they're behind schedule, but there is a couple of weeks left in November, so this chart that Matt shows you will look a lot greener and does look greener every day. But they are behind schedule, there's no question about it, and we're running into weather which is there's nothing we can do about it, nothing anybody can do about that. As Matt suggested, we will have this meeting on Friday and hope to have something out to all residents no later than Monday as to an update from that meeting. I can't promise it on Friday because Fridays are Friday, but we hope to have an update for you with some pretty hard dates on it on Monday. So, Matt, did I describe that correctly?
Yes, sir.
Okay, cool. All right, so thank you very much for that update, Matt. Okay, hey, Matt, you are still on the agenda. Good Lord, man. Want to talk about CAM committee chair. So, Matt, I'm going to turn this over to you.
Next slide, Joey. So on 31 October, at our last board meeting, the board approved the Common Area Maintenance Committee charter and the formation of that committee. And we had in place a strategy for getting that committee set up, and part of that was how we were going to get a chairperson identified. Next slide, Joey. So Charlie, my best friend in the whole world these days, sent out an e-blast across the community asking for residents who might be interested in chairing that committee. We were lucky enough to get two qualified applicants, very highly qualified applicants to apply for the job. On the 9th of November, Denise Lexell and myself, my battle buddy that's normally right here, we conducted those interviews. And next slide, Joey. On behalf of Denise, I would like to offer the following motion for the board's consideration and action. I would like you to approve Eileen Depka as our chairperson for the Common Area Maintenance Committee.
I second that motion.
Is there a second? Oh, we have rules here, Sean. We have rules. Come on.
Come on, we got stuff to do.
Okay, I got a motion on the table. Approve Eileen Depka as our chairperson for the newly minted Common Area Maintenance Committee. I tell you what, this is a big deal, really a big deal, that we will have a committee representing homeowners and residents on the focus of our common area. We're spending a bunch of money in that area to clean up a mess that's been around for 25 years, and having resident input is critical. So we now will have a committee that allows resident input, allows resident volunteers to participate and help guide this process. So it's an incredible time, it's a great time. I'm just so happy that Eileen was willing. We had other, sounds like other people willing as well, but Eileen was willing. Eileen, are you here? Nope.
She was unable to be here.
Another absentee, but we're happy she has been willing to accept this job. Is there any other comments from the board on this? Nope, no comments. Do we have any comments from the audience? I hope no comments means this is good news. So you're going to have to come down to the mic. I'm not mean. I'm not trying to be mean about it. But if you don't do the mic, then the people that are listening to it eventually on YouTube don't hear it. So it's a big, long process. I apologize for that. But okay, no other comments? Okay, all in favor of Eileen as our chairperson for Common Area Maintenance, say aye. 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 All opposed? Great. Motion carries. Thank you, Eileen. She will, I'm sure, be asking for volunteers. It's a committee. I mean, there's a charter that says they can have up to 9 people. So there's a committee. If you're interested in that, stay tuned. And I know Eileen will be asking for volunteers to get started very quickly with that Common Area Committee.
Dan, if I could.
Yes.
Denise and I have already established a coordination meeting with Eileen. It'll happen next week, so we can put out to the community how we're going to seat that committee.
Good. So more probably next week, it sounds like. All good. Next thing on the agenda is October financial update by my friend Campbell Cheney. Campbell, it's up to you.
Thanks, Dan. Next slide, Joey. Okay.
This is our usual cash and investment slide. You can see it's updated through November 9th. So we got the end of the day cash balances. One thing I do want to bring to your attention is the cash balance November 9th, October 31st of the reserve fund. The cash investment balance is down about $1 million from December 2022. So the middle columns there, the middle rows. Primarily that was a repaving of Mountain View Boulevard. That cost about $950,000. It was very much over budget, but we had to get it done. So that's kind of the reason. The rest of the cash you can see, we're at $3.9 million in the operating fund, about $4.1 million in the reserve fund overall, and about $1.5 million, let's call it, $1.45 million, let's call it, in the capital improvement fund. So still have cash available for us. So we have some stability there. Getting into the next slide, the October month to date, and these are preliminary numbers, so they can move around a little bit, but you can see the bottom line is we had a positive profit of $103,000. Getting into the various aspects of it, the HOA, which is basically the cost of running the organization, had a profit of about $233,000, so you get a positive green band there, up from a budget of $175,000, so very much ahead in that regard. Lower costs, and we did have about a $52,000. You see the second row down on the left column, about $52,000. That was a catch-up from the previous month, which did push the numbers a little bit. Golf, you can see golf, we're losing less money than anticipated, slightly. We had a subsidy of about $94,000 versus about $101,000 subsidy. As I've been saying for several months, we're going to start to see a catch-up with the costs, and that is starting. So you can see the costs were a little bit higher than anticipated, but still, we'll see the next slide, year to date, we're still very, very in a good position. Food and beverage, as we've been saying, is kind of still the weak spot. It gets a red band. But it was closer than we've been in the past months, but we still had a subsidy of $34,000, which is off about 7% from what the budget was. Fitness and theater doing better than expected to kind of give us the overall $104,000 profit. Next slide, Joey. So year to date, this is kind of what I look at more than say 1 month doesn't make a trend, but year to date is something you look at. Again, the HOA net income is about $1.9 million. The budget had about $1.5 million, so we're 23% ahead of where the budget was for 2023 year to date. Golf is doing better, as I just said, $831,000 subsidy versus the budget of $1.25 million. Again, it was kind of expenses is what's coming in a lot shallower than expected. It's about a $500,000 reduction in expenses than compared to budget. Like any of that, it was operating equipment not coming in on time, but also you've got a reduction in use of water, sand, fertilizer, those types of things was helping on the expense side. Still the weak spot, net income. You can see subsidy of $513,000. It's already ahead of what the projection was. We'll get to more of that in a little bit, but you can see that is a very weak spot, and we are looking into it. We are looking to have that as kind of a real project, a real focus going forward on how to get food and beverage subsidies to stop going down or going up or getting better. Fitness, theater doing better. Again, overall net income for the year to date is $465,000 versus what we thought was going to be a subsidy of about $200,000. So we're doing a lot better in that regard. Next slide, Joey. Here we go, food and beverage. Broken down between Mountain View, Banquets, the Brook, and then the Preserve. You can see, if I can draw your attention to the red arrow and the red line, you can see year to date the subsidy is the actual subsidy about $378,000. Not materially different than a year ago, but still something to work on because the budget we thought we'd be having a subsidy at this point in the year of $175,000 subsidy. So still wildly out of touch with what we thought the budget was going to be, but compared to last year, not as bad. Getting into the month to date, you can see the month to date for Mountain View was off about 8%, better, actually was better 8% than what we thought during the budget, but the Preserve is doing worse. So you can see it's not an easy navigation to figure out what the problem is. It's a complicated set of problems that we need to look at. Next slide, Joey. So wages and benefits for October and year-to-date, you can see our wages and benefits, payroll, if you will, are up about 18% over what the budget was going to be. For a year ago, about 7.5% from the budget, say 18% over last year. Golf is about 17% over last year and not doing as well for the month, but doing a lot better for year-to-date. And food and beverage had a better month, but year-to-date, you can see it's still off by 5%, and you can see from a year ago, it's off by about 13%, just wages. Cost of goods sold. Next slide, Joey. So here's cost of goods sold. We've been working on that, and we've been showing some progress. I think as Terry, our finance manager, digs into what the calculation is and taking out some of the extraneous information, you can see that as we get into a more, I think, comprehensive calculation of what the cost of goods sold is, overall, we had an improvement in October versus September. It was now, I think, with a better calculation, we're at 36% for food and about 41% for versus September. Not great, but still kind of showing an improvement. If you look at Mountain View Banquets in the Brook, you can see our food cost is about 33% versus 39% a month ago. Again, as we dig into what the calculation tells us and we take out some of the more extraneous information in the calculation, you can see it's starting to get a little bit more in focus and a little better. The Preserve is still the weak spot. You can see that we actually reversed itself and got worse in October versus September. We're at 45% cost of goods sold for food versus about 44.5% in September. Still a little bit better than the 47% year to date. And the red, you see the red band is payroll. I mean, we're having 65% of Mountain View is labor versus revenue. In September is 93%. And then in the Preserve, it's 55% of payroll to revenue. I mean, we need to get that a lot better. And then finally, our next slide, Joey. And this is the golf course renovation. Kind of, Matt gave you a breakdown of the construction. This is a breakdown of the numbers. You can see we're starting to come to the end of the contract. We've spent about $4.9, almost $5 million of the $5.7 million contract. We're about 12% left to go, so we're still on budget with the construction point. And then you can see the change orders. We've all filled out the change orders right on the button, right on budget. And then we still have some costs associated with the irrigation design and project management. And then finally, Joy, the next slide, the last slide. This is what our projected costs are going to be, expenditures for the reserve fund and the CIF fund for November's and December. I don't want to get into it, but you can see that. We can end the year probably with $3.5 million or so in the reserve budget. And Dan, that is the update for October.
All right, thank you. Are there any comments from the board or questions for Campbell? Or the labor thing is obviously concerning for sure. But I seem to remember, and you can tell me I'm right or wrong, that we've had to make some mid-year changes and adjustments because we just weren't able to fill positions. Is that true? Is that a true statement?
Yes, we had up hourly pay to keep back of the house people in back of the house and keep them from leaving to go to other places.
Is that right, Walter?
That is right. We had a point where it became very hard to keep our chefs, and other restaurants were offering more, so we came back to the board and asked that we raise their pay rate so that they would stay here. So yeah, so it was a scramble in the middle of the year to get that taken care of.
Okay, so there's some contribution of that mid-year adjustment compared to budget, sounds like. I'm not saying that makes it right by any stretch, but there is some reasoning behind all of that as opposed to everybody got a raise outside of what was anticipated.
Right.
Any other comments?
Well, one comment I'll make is that the problem is revenue. We're not getting the revenue. I mean, we've increased the investment in employees. It's not translating into people coming to the restaurants.
Yep. And I think people come for good food, good service, and we're working on that. I think that's a major focus at this point in time with our staff, so let's hope continued improvements occur, that's for sure. All right, Campbell, you're still on.
Yes.
You have something that's been being worked on for quite some time. I'll let you talk about it. Updated reserve policy and also capital improvement fund policy.
Right. Next slide, Joey. Actually, I wanted to take it one more slide. Okay, one of the goals of the Finance Committee in 2023 was to review and update financially related board policies. That has been done, and the result has been we have materially strengthened the replacement reserve fund policy, and we've established a new capital improvement fund policy. Next slide, Joey. The benefits of the updated replacement reserve policy, it's a more structured policy, with guardrails that didn't really have before. It provides detailed characteristics of what a reserve asset is. It provides clear lines of responsibility between the board, the general manager, and the finance committee. It details procedures regarding expenditures, funding, schedules, and reporting. The benefits of a new now I'm getting into the new capital improvement fund policy. The benefits of a new capital improvement fund policy is it defines the definition of a community improvement fee and the capital improvement fund. They're two different things, even though there's CIF. There's still two different things. The capital improvement or the community improvement fee is the fee that goes into the capital improvement fund, and that's derived when a resale of a house happens. The new buyer puts 1 year's worth of dues into the communities. That's called the community service fee, and that gets allocated between the capital improvement fund and the reserve fund. So that has now been delineated, defined. It also broadens the responsibility it defines the lines of responsibility between the board, the general manager, and the finance committee, and it details procedures outlining the fees, acceptable projects, and reporting. So I'll make a motion. First, the finance committee has reviewed and recommends for board approval an updated replacement reserve fund policy and a new capital improvement fund policy. Therefore, I move the board approve these policies.
All right, there's a motion. Finance Committee approve these two the motion comes from Campbell to approve these two policies. Do I have a second? Matt Cambick has seconded. I will say, in my opinion, a lot of hard work. This is collaborative. This came from not just Campbell sitting down one day and writing all this stuff up, although he probably could, but he didn't. The Finance Committee, staff, certainly Terry, all involved in these discussions, and they've been ongoing for a while. Campbell, I think, probably
Several months.
Yeah.
The old replacement reserve policy was basically this. It was written in 2018, so it was due for a revamp.
Okay. I'm going to need to give you your microphone or something over there.
It's got it on.
Oh, you got it on? Oh, cool. I didn't even see that. Very good. All right. Was there anybody asleep during that time? Because you need to wake up because the motion, we're going to vote on it and stuff. Just kidding. I know. Good stuff. Okay. Any other comments from the board?
Finance Committee.
All right. Any comments from our residents? Okay. Hearing none, all in favor of the motion to approve the updated replacement reserve fund policy and the capital improvement fund policy, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Campbell. Okay. We are now time for the budget review and a motion about the budget. So Campbell, I'm going to give it back to you.
All right, next slide, Joey. Okay, the board budget directives, it provides the necessary financial resources so our amenities and facilities continue to operate at an optimal level with the goal to sustain improved resident experiences while providing protection from home values. The budget also continuously to monitor operational financial performance of the HOA. The board also is tracking and planning for future needs of the replacement reserve fund and the capital improvement fund, which is critical at this time. We need future planning for the reserve fund, which we'll get to in a few minutes about why that is, but that is a critical component of what the future board directives are going to have to be over that fund. Next slide. The dues breakdown. The dues must cover common area maintenance, facilities, general and administrative costs, and the patrol, and the subsidized amenities if needed, which it usually does. That's golf, restaurants, theater, finance, and lifestyles together. The dues also have to cover the capital expenditures for the operating fund, which are purchases of equipment, smaller types of equipment, those types of things. And also, very critical, the allocation to replacement reserve fund, which is about 30% of the dues this year. Next slide, Joey. Major budget data points. Wages and burden are the single largest operating cost component. For 2024 budget, it's about 55.2% of total operating expenses versus about 51.3% in 2023. The 2024 budgeted payroll growth is 14.5% because we're increased staffing in some areas to improve resident experiences, the most visible one being common area maintenance, level 3 and level 5. You can see it as you drive up Clubhouse. Those are the kind of things we're talking about. Also data points, golf. The Mountain View renovation is expected to improve performance. We opened a new golf shop. We opened the Links, Grab and Go. Those should boost sales of apparel and food and beverage. Mountain View, you can see that performance in the budget is pretty aggressive, and we're going to push management to make sure that is getting executed on. We spent $6 million investment. We expect some return on that. The preserve course is still struggling. It's forecast to show a $640,000 subsidy due to many factors, including age of the course, including poor course conditions, specifically the bunkers. I'm not a big golfer, but what I hear anecdotally is the bunkers are not in good shape. Those type of things, I think, affect play. Common area cost increase, as I just said, we increased staffing to meet demand for better maintenance in levels 3 and level 5. And the replacement reserve fund is the biggest part of dues. As I said, allocations up to 30%. Last year was about 28%, so it was about 17.8% over 2023. Some non-essential projects were pushed into future years due to long-term financial and strategic planning. The biggest number is going to be the Mountain View remodel, which was originally scheduled for 2024. We pushed that into 2025 because we're waiting for the strategic plan and the facilities plan to come out so we can better idea and better gauge how to deal with the Mountain View clubhouse. Next slide, Joey. So this is a pie chart that was introduced last year. I like it, so we're doing it again this year. It shows the dues of $3,500. It also shows where your money is going in a nice, easy to read pie chart. 30% of it and the biggest portion of your dues is going into our reserve fund. The next biggest is the G&A at 22%. What's interesting enough, and why I put red circles around this, if you look at the restaurant subsidy and the golf subsidy, it's about 10% of your dues. A lot of energy is spent looking at golf and looking at the restaurants, but it's really only about 10% of your coverage of your dues. Next slide, Joey. So this is also an interesting slide to me. This is dues since our transition in 2018. You can see the left-hand column is the actual dues we paid, and then we broke it into operating, and we broke it into what went into the replacement reserve fund. I'm going to look right now at the middle column and the green circle. You can see the green circle over the last 6 years, or 7 years, we've had about a 5.61% compounded annual growth rate. If you measure that against the CPI, the consumer product, the inflation for Phoenix, we're actually tracking with what inflation is for Phoenix. So we're operating very efficiently compared to inflation. Where we kind of go wrong is with the reserve funding. You can see we've had a almost 30% growth in reserve allocations since we transitioned in 2018. And there's probably more of that to come. We're still very much under-reserved. Next slide, Joey. So here's kind of looking out 5 years for 2024 through 2028. Now we're getting into the reserves. And this is the gorilla in the room. This is where we need to focus a lot of our energy to get a financial plan together, which we are working on and have been working on for several months, to get the money together to spend the $24.4 million, which is what we need to do just to keep things maintained the way they are over the next 5 years. And you can see it's not uniform. It's not all 24 divided by 5. It's lumpy. You've got 3.6 million next year. You've got 6 million the next year, 6 million the following year, 4.7 million in 27, and 3.6 million in 2028. So it's a big bump there. And these numbers, are what we know today. If you look back 2 years ago, when we did our reserve study and those numbers were generated, the cost for 2024 to 2020 was only $20 million. So inflation is pushing these costs higher. So we need to adjust this in the very short term. Next slide, Joey. Getting back to budget uncertainties. Here are budget uncertainties. Economic health. Are we entering a recession? Are we going to have a soft landing? We don't know. We won't know till we're there. Are we going to have continued post-pandemic cost escalations like we've been seeing in the past? Are we going to have supply shortages? Again, unknowables. Revenue. Will the Mountain View Golf revenue come back? As I said, we spent $6 million renovating the course. Will the revenue come back? We're certainly going to push to make sure, we try our hardest to make sure that happens. But it is a question mark. And will weather affect golf revenue? We had several freezes earlier this year that affected the revenue. Will that again happen? Food and beverage, I didn't even put any qualifiers. It's just, we got to work on the food and beverage. It's a big question mark. Expenses, wages and staff retention. We had problems this year. We had to go in and increase some costs, some hourly wages to get staff to stay. And then I've been talking about reserve fund expenses. Roads, facilities, Mountain View Clubhouse, tennis courts, pool decks, all of the above. I mean, we've got very big expenses in front of us. We've got to have a plan together to do that, and we're working on that. And finally, in summary, we made an investment in adding staff to improve resident experiences. Our surveys over the summer said we need to do that, so we are putting money to use for that regard. We have aggressive amenity revenue needed to justify added staffing. So we're going to push management and staff to say we're making these investments that you requested. We want to see a return on those investments. So we're going to push on that. We are ending the year with projected positive operating cash. This company this HOA runs on cash. We have a positive operating cash flow. As I said earlier, golf and food and beverage subsidy is only about 10% of our dues. So we got to look at the other 90% and look at that and not just focus on golf and food and beverage. And the higher reserve fund allocation is taking a larger portion of our dues. It's 30% this year, it was 27, 28% last year. And we'll probably go higher in the next few years as previous slides show. We've got a lot of costs in front of us that we've got to figure out how to pay for. And then we've got to continuously monitor the performance. So I will make a motion. The 2024 budget is constructed to meet our operating and reserve funding needs for the upcoming year. It also provides increased investment in our common area and other areas that resident surveys have identified as primary importance while scrutinizing the cost to ensure operating efficiency. And with that, I move to approve the 2024 budget.
Thank you, Campbell. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
All right, Sean seconded. Okay, time for comments. I'll start by saying that the draft or preliminary budget was put online, I think, October 23rd, something like that date. So it's been there for a while. It should allow plenty of scrutiny, hopefully, by homeowners and residents. I'll also say it's a culmination of multiple open finance committee meetings throughout this fall. And on November 1, we had an open town hall that dedicated this topic to that town hall. Got a lot of good feedback, got a lot of good comments from homeowners associated to this budget. So anyway, I'll ask for any other board comments associated to this.
Yeah, there's just one thing I wanted to point out, and when you went through the PowerPoint on about the fourth page, we talked about subsidizing the amenities, and we mentioned golf and restaurants, theater and fitness and lifestyle. I guess I just want to point out, all of our amenities are subsidized, okay? Those are separated out only because we charge something for them, so a large percentage of the subsidy is covered by us charging for it. We don't put in the $400,000 a year we pay for having swimming pools, or the $1 million a year that we pay for roads, or the hundreds of thousands of dollars we pay for all of our meeting rooms. Those are all amenities also that are all subsidized. We just don't charge for them. So just try to remember that every amenity we've got, including this room you're sitting in, is amenity that's subsidized by all your dues. We didn't charge you $5 a head to come in here, and so therefore it's just thought of a little differently for some reason. I'm not sure why, but anyway, it's just a point I wanted to make.
$5? Could we get $5? All right, good comment, Mark. Any other comments from the board?
Yeah, I've just got one quick question.
Sure.
Campbell, the pie chart that you have here, very detailed, very precise, is that for the budget?
Yes.
Do you have, and it shows 30% of the dues composition going to reserves?
Yes.
Are there any pie charts showing breaking that 30% out between all these areas?
Oh, you mean where
How much of that 30% is going
We have
to
that information.
G&A? How much is going
Yeah.
to restaurants? How much is going to golf?
yeah, but I didn't put it in a pie chart. We have that information.
Okay.
Yeah, that'd be good. I don't know what you want to, we can't do it right here, but
I don't have it in front of me now.
that detail certainly is in the reserve study and
It's
the
in the
reserve
budget,
plan.
yeah. It's
But
in the
yeah,
budget.
maybe that's a good idea to have that as well. Any other comments? Comments from residents? You have 2 minutes. We don't just have 2 minutes. You have 2 minutes individually. If you want to make a comment, come on down, stand up at the microphone. Man. All right, come on down. I hope you do. We'll wait on you.
Good morning, everyone. Claude Wise, 4859. I just want to throw something out. This is like my fourth meeting I've come to, a lot of information, the budgets. It always seems to be food and beverage is always in the red. I have two friends that live outside of this community. That's their fault, okay? But on top of their dues, they also have to pay, one of them pays $600 and the other one pays $1,000. It goes to the restaurants every year. So their dues plus the $600 or plus the $1,000. And what it is it's a count that sits at the restaurants so that these facilities have money and you know what you can staff them with. And if they don't use their money up at the end of the year, it's their loss. If they go to the restaurants and they spend their money, it's just an account that they have at the restaurant. And if they hit their $600, well, then they start paying. Same thing with $1,000. I don't know if that's anything that we've ever considered, and I know on top of the $3,500 that we already paid, but you know, I already looking at it's 10%. You know, 10%, another $3,500. I mean, another $350, or maybe just $5, round it to $4,000. So. Just a thought.
Clyde? Is it Clyde?
Claude.
Claude, I'm sorry.
That's
Sorry.
okay.
Thanks for the comments. I do appreciate those very much. I will tell you, everything should be on the table. There's some legal issues associated to that, but I don't think any comment like that should be taken off the table. So I really appreciate the comment. It is, I think, our board's perspective that we need to get good service and good food before we start talking about something like that. And so I think that's a real focus for us.
But this is my point. You can't get it if you don't have the money to pay for it.
I understand.
So if you know every year that we all are willing to pay an extra $1,000 to subsidize our restaurants, and we can go there, and that is funds that we can pull from, you know what you can staff with, you know the quality of the food you can buy. I'll leave it at that.
No, it's good comment. Truly, it's a good comment. Everything's on the table. I can assure you that. All right, next comment. Come on up.
Kent Adams, Unit 25, Lot 6. My question really is Campbell. Could we do that pie chart and resegregate so that not only do you have the reserve funding and the operating funding for each section, like golf, what is the reserve fund, what is the operating for the theater, so that Chuck asked for? I would like to see that so that we could see things broken out, fully funded, so we really know by area of operation where our monies are going, what amenities are costing us, and how the community is evolving.
Are you speaking just of the reserve portion?
Well, actually, it would end up being both, but yes, reserve very much so, because that's the biggest part of our budget, and we really should know where all our funds are going. Obviously, the strategic plan will dramatically impact the long-range part of that, but even in the short term, I think it would be very valuable for the community.
Yeah, we have that information.
Yeah, I know you do.
We could put it into an easy-to-read pie chart rather than page after page after page of just line items.
You have to cut and paste to get it together because it's in different sections.
Right.
And what I'm asking for is you put it together in a single section and you say golf, okay, what are my expenses, what are my reserve funds, what are my total operating for golf, for the theater, for fitness? Because as stated, the pools are not cheap dates. I mean, there are a lot of things we spend money on. Let's really have openness to the community.
So if I understand you right, it would be each amenity. I'll throw one out, golf.
Yeah.
So golf, reserve, operating, put that in a pie chart. And then
Yeah, and also when we do the financials, to look at them in toto as an operation. That's what I'm really asking for. And I think that would give good clarity on what's going on.
Okay.
There are other communities that report that way, and you may want to take a look at it.
Do you have a sample that you can send me?
Yeah, it's from Iron Oaks. It's by Blue Star Management.
But do you have a sample you can?
Yeah, I can. I'll ask them to send it to you.
Yeah, could you send that to me?
My second is, I think we should look at other communities and see what we can do in terms of reducing our expenditures and look at best practices. So I would ask the board to consider that and look at what are best practices with other communities within Arizona and look at what we can do to do a better job to keep our expenses down.
Thank you. Thanks for the comment. All right.
Steve Lindquist, Unit 45, Lot 98. I was just looking at some numbers I jotted down off of those charts. There's some pretty big expenditures coming at us over the next 4 or 5 years, particularly in, I think it's 25 and 26. There was 2 big years. The question that comes to my mind is, where is that money going to come from? Is it going to require special assessments to get us there? I don't know the answer, but I'm interested as to what the board's thoughts are about where we're going to generate that money from. We've got the preserve golf course coming at us, I understand is probably another major expenditure. Taking everything in, do you see special assessments in the picture?
Yeah, I mean, I would say this, we have very few levers to pull. in regards to getting the funding for that. We can increase the dues. We can do it statutorily 20% per year. That's the Arizona law. We can incur debt, which we've done in the past. Not ideal, but we were over a barrel. We had to do it. Or we have special assessments. If it's $300 assessment, the board can vote to do a $300 assessment once per year, calendar year, I think it is. Anything above that, the community gets to vote on it. All of that has been worked on. We've got a group together. We've been working on it for several months. We'll have more to talk about that in the coming weeks to answer your question.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, Steve. That's right. We will have very focused conversations about this issue singularly to allow all homeowners a chance to ask questions, understand it, think about it, but it's coming. I mean, it just is coming. We have a very aged community here in terms of facilities. So anyway, thanks, Campbell, for that. Steve, thanks for the question. Any other comments? Any other comments from homeowners? All right, hearing none, I'll remind us of the motion to approve the 2024 budget as noted on our website.
I will be happy to read it again, Dan. The 2024 budget is constructed to meet our operating and reserve funding needs for the upcoming year. It also provides increased investment in our common area and other areas that resident surveys have identified as of primary importance while scrutinizing costs and ensuring operating efficiency. I move that we approve the 2024 budget.
All right, thanks, Campbell. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? All right, budget carries. Thank you. Lots of work. And again, work by the Finance Committee. I know we have quite a few Finance Committee members here today. Thank you for all of the work that you've put into this, as well as staff. Terry and all of the staff have been very involved in this process. So thank you all for that. So anyway, time to move on. Good job. All right, we're here for something that's very exciting. The culmination of, again, a lot of work. I'm going to introduce my newest best friend, Ray Adams, to come up and give us a presentation on rules and regs and a potential rule change. So Ray, come on up.
So, here we are again. We've been at this business. Can everybody hear me okay? We've been at this business now for over 6 months. And have gone through a couple of comment periods that have created some interest in the community. This last opportunity for folks to respond was large. If you look at the fact that we've got, roughly 3,200 lots, we had over 1,000 respondents. Approximately 35% of the homes responded to this. So it has broad interest for the community. And in fact, in the first 2 focus group meetings for the strategic plan, dog walking was mentioned. So let's look and see what happened. If you look at the total survey, 67% approved, 31% disapproved. 2% didn't answer the question. Give me the next slide, please. But if you look at the responses by the lot type, it's been pointed out that those folks who are on golf lots have a higher interest, if you will, in what happens. And it's shown in the results. The golf lot approval rate is 57%. For all other lots, it's 71%. So those folks who live on golf lots weren't as enthusiastic. But it's worth noting that in the aggregate, they still approve of the change. What kind of concerns? I don't have the number in front of me at the instant, but there were something over 300 separate posted comments. Some of them in narrative form, some in notes to the board that showed up that we've done our level best to make sure that everyone's comment was represented here. The biggest concern by everyone, of course, is rule breakers. Folks who just won't pay attention to the fact that they have to care for their animals when they're on the course, or anywhere else for that matter. We had listed 4 items that we thought people might be concerned about, and one of them was dog waste, another was wildlife disruption, and another was noise. Now, I was surprised at the results for wildlife disruption and for noise, because they're both smaller than what I thought I would see. Certainly smaller than what I was predicting. Why don't we move on here? Major issues. These were things were pointed out in the comments. And the largest of those is the fact that the rule which was proposed was really a copy from HOA 1. And they allowed a 16-foot leash. A 16-foot leash is a standard for retractable leashes. The problem with a retractable leash is that you can't pull the dog to you with that leash. You've got to walk up to the dog in order to use it. The second problem is that it's a big leash. It's a long way. Easy to get things tangled up. So we looked to see what real requirements there were in terms of leashes, and checked with the Arizona revised statutes. They say that in a rabies quarantine area, that leashes must be restricted to 6 feet. Yeah, it doesn't say that in all areas leashes have to be 6 feet long. Nonetheless, we've checked that with the Pinal County Animal Control, who insist that 6-foot leash is not only the standard, but required. They haven't been able to support that with a legal citation, but we felt that it would make good sense if we were to follow their lead and keep the leash lengths a little smaller. We looking forward to what might be an implementation scheme. We put together a little group from Rules and Regulations, the Golf Committee, Troon, and residents, and made some suggestions for the staff. First, that nothing should be done until signage is prepared, so that we have appropriate signs at entry points to the golf courses, and so that we have no pet waste notices on all the waste containers, so that folks are reminded that they're not supposed to dump that stuff there. If we look at the condition of the golf courses, it makes good sense that if we were to start this, it would be on the preserve first. They have all 18 holes open now. Cart path traffic is normal. And those residents, in point of fact, have fewer opportunities than those folks in Mountain View area. And the reason for that is because the Mountain View folks have the dog park. They have the grassy area outside the administration facility here. And they're a little closer to the HOA 1 facilities that they can use for dog walking as well. Mountain View would like to think about when those holes finally do open and the initial rush is over. Right now, there's just too much congestion, too much activity on the courses to be able to allow that. And we're a little concerned over what the condition will be with respect to sodded areas that are that Matt just told us about, that are being put down, giving them an opportunity to get seeded properly. And turf reduction. Turf reduction creates areas, large swatches of areas that don't have vegetation at all. As we're encouraging that course to mature, those areas are going to be muddy and difficult for folks to navigate if they have to get off the golf path. So we want to hold that. I don't know how long it's going to take. It will probably be a matter of months, not weeks. We're going to let the golf committee, Troon, and the residents come up with a date that seems reasonable to them. So we did make some changes. In the proposed rule, the leash length was changed to 6 feet. That is the standard fixed leash length that you can purchase anywhere. It's also the standard that was proposed by the Pinal County animal control folks. And we've added the fact that course closures for overseeding will require that we not allow dog walking, or any walking for that matter, during that period of time. Okay, so we have a rule that is proposed. I'll bore you by reading it. Dogs securely on leash and under the immediate control of the dog walker may be walked on the golf courses during posted walking hours. Leashes must not be over 6 feet long and must not be let go or allowed to drag, so that the animal is allowed to run free. The leash must be shortened when approaching others. That's just good common sense, and I think most dog owners already behave in that fashion. All traffic, walkers, golf carts, or any other permitted traffic must stay on the cart path. Dogs may roam on either side of the cart path up to the length of the leash. Dog walkers will depart the golf path as necessary to collect waste. All dog waste must be collected immediately and carried off the golf course. Dog waste must not be deposited in the trash baskets on the courses. Dogs are not permitted on tees, bunkers, greens, driving ranges. No toys commonly used for dogs, such as balls, ball throwers, frisbees, etc., are allowed on the courses. The Director of Golf Operations will adjust the walking hours as required to conform with seasonal changes in daylight hours. During seasonal overseeding of courses, all access will be suspended. We've also proposed some fines. Walking on the courses before or after the posted hours with or without a dog, $50. Failure of the dog owner to carry dog waste off the courses, $50. Failure to stay in a designated golf cart path except for departures to collect waste, $25. All fines doubled on successive violations. Okay, that's all I have to say on the subject. I'd like to request that the board make a motion to approve the recommended rule.
All right. Thank you, Ray. Lots of work, obviously. Is there a second? Oh, wait a minute. Wait, hang on. That needs to come from the board. So I will make the motion to the board that we approve this rules and reg change and allow dogs and owners to walk on our golf course. So I will make that motion. Is there a second? Second. All right. Campbell seconds. Thank you. All right. Is there any comments, board folks?
Yeah, I got one comment. Is this a permanent rule change, or is this going to be a trial period?
I'm sorry.
Is this going to be a permanent rule change, or is there a trial period?
No, it's not really a trial period. What we're doing is enacting this rule as a permanent rule, but we're going to do some things to try and keep an eye on it during initial implementation, if you folks vote on it that way, which would give us the opportunity to see just how well it works in our environment. I expect it's going to be a successful process because we have HOA 1 as a model before us. Gives us some indications that it actually does work. But in the event that it does not, then we will be back up here asking you to change the rule one more time and put it back the way it used to be.
All right, any other comments from the board?
Yes. I love dogs. I love people who have dogs. My best friend has a dog and has said, Sean, we got to do this. We got to do this. My concern is that 54% of the people are worried about dog waste, and the other two items at the top of Ray's list, what are they? Rule breakers, other, and dog waste. People don't pick up after their pets now. And when we got the response, we've got 35% people responding is good, but 31% of those people said, no, don't do it. Poop is left, like I said, on people's yards. It's put in trash containers and left there. It's not taken home to their own trash containers. I don't think it's an overall good thing for Saddlebrook.
All right, any other comments from the board? Ray, I will ask, this proposed rule, which is pretty detailed, is that pretty similar to if I read an HOA 1 rule?
It is identical with the exceptions that I've mentioned.
Okay, so it's exactly the same language that they use.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay. Except for the what?
Fishing pond.
Oh, okay. So we need a fishing pond. Okay, any other comments from the board? I'll make my comment before homeowners can come down, and I want you to come down. You know, in my opinion, this is an amenity, and it should be widely used. So I'm in favor, I will vote in favor, let me just say that, because I think all homeowners who pay dues should have a right to try and use every amenity, whether they play golf or not. And I really believe that it's important for our community, and it's a wonderful asset. HOA 1 has proven that people enjoy this. It's a social thing. Their animals enjoy it, on and on and on. So I know Sean has her opinions, which is wonderful. Everybody else has their own. They're going to vote in a minute. I will probably be voting for this measure based on the fact that I would like to see all of our homeowners enjoy all of our amenities. So anyway, enough said. Do we have any comments from homeowners? Come on down. Yeah, we got, we'll put a timer on you for a couple of minutes.
Gene Tomlinson, Unit 46, Lot 110.
Can you speak directly into the mic, please?
All right.
Thank you.
I had this written up to submit it with the thing, but I could never figure out how to get it to go, and I had clicked on one and said your vote went in, so I apologize for that. First of all, I'd like to thank you for taking up the dog issue and so forth, and the work that the board has put into it. I believe that allowing dogs to be walked on the HOA2 golf course path is a good thing for Saddlebrook. It allows more residents that are not golfers to enjoy the beauty in the mountains from a completely different perspective. I understand that some residents strongly oppose allowing dog owners to walk their dogs on the golf cart paths. My reservation is that most of their concerns are just not accurate. Listed below are some of the concerns expressed at board meetings, coffees with the general manager, and any time dog walking is brought up or discussed. Number one, dogs are going to make more noise on the golf course. A response, based on the premise that most HOA 2s will be the same as HOA 1,
except for HOA2 has some differences around the driving range and practice area. Everyone needs to understand that dog walkers are only allowed on the golf course in summer before the hours of 7 a.m. and after 6 p.m. and during the winters before 8 a.m. and after 5 p.m. I have never walked my dog on HOA2 golf courses because it's not allowed, so my experiences are from HOA1. I can assure you that the morning time frame is an extremely busy and noisy time on the golf course, because that is when the golf maintenance crews are preparing the golf course for the day's activities. They have a small tractor device plowing the sand traps, power mowers on the greens, primarily, but sometimes some mowing on the fairways and tees.
Are you getting close?
What's that?
Your 2 minutes is up.
All right.
But anyway, I appreciate it. I kind of going to hold on to 2 minutes because I don't want to give favor to...
I'd like to come back at the end of the line.
Sure. Yeah, come on back and at the end of the line. Next up.
One, I'm all in favor. I think all of us, I'm not a golfer, or do I own a dog? No, I'm sorry. Again, Claude Wise, 4859. I'm kind of in favor that we all should be able to use our facilities here. But the one thing in the last meeting, we were talking a lot about patrols and security and what we had available and what we didn't have available. And one of the things is we don't have a lot of security, or a lot of patrol, excuse me. So part of their additional responsibilities are now going to be to monitor the walkers on these courses. And I'm having a hard time visualizing how that's going to happen. So unless patrol has a golf cart that's designated like our patrol cars are, and somebody is on those hours patrolling our courses to find out if we do have rule breakers, I don't see how that's ever going to happen. So it's just my thought on how patrol's used.
Okay, I'll make a quick comment. Dale is here, our patrol captain. There are carts that the patrol uses, both at the preserve and Mountain View, specific to the patrol. And I believe, Dale, you tell me that there's like 20 hours a week of patrol. I'm sorry? 40 a month, 40 hours a month of patrol time currently being used on the golf courses, specifically for walkers. That's the, and you know, people, whatever else they're doing. So that's what's going on now. I don't think there's an intention to add a tremendous amount to this. We're hoping people are adults and they actually know what the rules are and they abide by the rules. So we'll see. But right now, we are doing it now, so it's not like there's nothing going on.
Okay, well, like I said, I'm new, so I'm just trying to find out, because
totally
I know that my 2 minutes are up, but I want to throw out, as Dale mentioned at the last meeting, is that this was going to be an additional duty to his patrol unit. His words, he stood right here when we talked about it, so.
Okay, thank you. All right.
Andrea Mulberg, Unit 42, Lot 72. Thank you. Thank you for listening, for reading hundreds of comments, responding to them, listening to desires and listening to concerns, and appropriately considering worst-case scenarios, modifying the signs, magnetic signs, they're gorgeous, to help us know so we don't break rules out of ignorance. Thank you for thinking about changing the dog rule, because hundreds of us really want it. And we want to enjoy the beauty of our courses. We want to be respectful, we want to enjoy our amenities, and we're even willing to help the patrol. A group of us dog volunteers, and there's room for more, have agreed to be on the courses before, during that time, before and after hours, golfing hours, to help people pay attention to the rules and respectfully take care of the courses that we love, that we pay for, that are beautiful. So dog volunteers are going to be there, first on the preserve, working with Dale, and we thank the golf committee, we thank the golf patrols, We thank the Rules Committee for all your work. And we hope the board will help us and listen to us and let us prove we are adults and that our dogs really are good friends.
Thank you, Andrea. Lots of hard work by you. Okay, next up.
Steve Lindquist, Unit 45, Lot 98. I have a question on some of the statistics you had. One of them was that we had about 1,000 people respond, about a third, I think, something like that. My question is, do you know how many of those are dog owners or how many are not dog owners?
No.
Okay.
Some people made comments that were specific to that, but we made no attempt to collect that data, and I don't have that information.
Okay. My comment would be, I suspect that a significant portion of those 1,000 people are in fact dog owners, because dog owners are the ones that have been asking for this for a long time. I will say personally, I don't own a dog. I have, but I don't anymore. But I have personally observed while I was walking down the golf courses, people with their dogs, and the problem you're going to have, it's the 20% that don't pay attention and take care of their pets that will cause you the problem. 80% of them are people like Andrea and she's very enthusiastic about it, and I'm glad to hear she's got people signed up to help police or patrol the situation, certainly. But I've literally been walking on the courses and seen people, their dogs do their stuff and they kind of look around like they don't see it and walk off. The tee boxes on the preserve at 5, Fairway 5, is another problem area. People aren't even walking, it's just convenient. They take their dogs over there and let them do their business, and I've observed a fair amount of dog stuff left there. So I think those are the problems you're going to have. The other thing I'd like you to consider is, you said use the preserve. There's at least three fairways I can think of. Fairway 13 is one of them. That's just right across the street from where my house is, in fact. And that thing runs right close to the people's
Steve,
backyard.
I'm sorry, you're 2 minutes. If you want to come
No,
back,
that's all I've got to
great.
say.
No, if you want to come back, that's great. I just want to hold this 2-minute thing just
That's
to
fine.
not give advanced or advantage to anybody. Thank you, Steve. Okay.
Hi, my name is Carol. I live in Unit 35A, Lot 45. I'm not quite sure how to say this. I love dogs. I truly do. As a walker, I was walking one morning and had a German Shepherd off leash on my shoulders, and it was a curve, so the owner didn't see it. And he thought it was funny. Unfortunately, I did not. I also work golf security on the golf courses. So I see people with their dogs. Most of them are wonderful, and some of the older people that have the little dogs that they hold on their lap, I don't have a problem with that. I feel bad to tell them that you're not to have dogs on the course. I understand, you're not going to say, well, you can have a 5-pound dog, but you can't have a 50-pound dog. But I also understand that if you put something in motion without trying it for a while, I wonder if that would be a good idea. Picking up waste and passing all of those garbage cans, that's kind of difficult. Why would they bother carrying it when no one's going to see them except, me? But HOA 1 people, many of them have said something, and staff has said to me that they wish they had never voted for dogs to be on the course. So that's a different opinion, and I just wanted to put it out there. Most important is, you're right, everyone pays fees, and it is beautiful to walk the course. I hope now that everybody can, and consider dogs for a while, ? Thank you.
Thank you, Cheryl. Okay, next up.
Sherry Groupie, Unit 45, Lot 73. I am not a dog owner. I do back to the golf course, and I did vote to have dogs be able to walk there. I'm happy to see that that has been the decision. I do want to be clear that I would look for Mountain View to be included when it's ready to, as far as the course, so that it is spread out throughout the community and not in just one course. So I just want to make sure that Mountain View will be included when it's appropriate.
Thanks, Sherry. No question. Mountain View's in the gig. It's just a timing issue really right now. So no question that Mountain View will be a part of this.
I'll just finish up Steve's comments. My name's Mona, Unit 45, Lot 100. And totally in favor of people using the golf course, former dog owner most of my life. I also have managed a large open area dog walking area and 1,000 miles of trails. There's going to be problems, there's going to be rule breakers, but that doesn't necessarily mean you don't go ahead with it. My concern that I expressed before is for homeowners' rights, and the impact to some of them is going to be greater. Probably doesn't matter for the vote, but for surveying, sometimes you have to look a little bit more into your questions, so if other issues come up. For instance, you ask about golf course lot owners that so many approved them. There's only a handful that are severely impacted, so we're putting that burden onto them, but other golf course lot owners are not really impacted. It's a huge area between them and the cart pack, or they have a big wall in between them. And there are at least 3 fairways at the preserve where it really is going to impact those homeowners, not myself. Again, in favor of the dog walking. But literally, there are some of them, it's 13 feet from the cart path to their home. Now, so if they're trying to sit there and enjoy their patio and they have a dog, the dog's going to get agitated. So suddenly you changed how they are able to use their home. So I think we have to think about individual homeowners more sometimes. Again, in favor of it, but I think we are going to severely impact a few homeowners, which I'm not sure is fair.
Thanks, Mona. Like Ray says, you know, we're probably going to learn in this process. So if that bubbles to the surface, I'm sure there'll be more conversation on that. I did play golf the other day, by the way, at our neighbors. I had to because friends went there, and I played with them at HOA 1. And I tell you, they have a lot of homes that are very close to the path as well. So somehow they've managed their way through this, but it's something that will certainly be looked at regularly. Next up. Oh yeah, come on up. Part 2.
Well, I was in the process of going over on the time frame of 7 a.m. in the morning and the number of activities that take place, and one of them is let me find out where I was in my notes here. They have the people, let's say they're plowing the sand traps, the cart comes along where they change the tee and the cups and the greens, and then another one, they're doing mowing on the tees or mowing in some cases on the golf course. And the other thing is the blowers also, that's the noisiest thing of all, is the small truck that pulls the large blower that cleans the golf cart path. And this blower is also used to blow leaves and debris from the fairway. In the AM, there is no way dogs are going to cause additional noise by barking. My experience with dog walking is that most dogs don't bark when they are being walked. Next item is dogs are going to chase all the animals and birds off of the golf course. The requirement of the state of Arizona Saddlebrook is that all pets must be on a leash. I've been here for 9 years, and HOA 1 has allowed dog walking, and there are lots of animals and birds all over the golf courses. I think yesterday I played on Saddlebrook, there were 30 deer. That's just on one course. I mean, the number of animals out there, maybe the dog walkers attract them, I don't know, but animals are everywhere. Okay, the other thing is pet owners do not pick up after their pets. I think that, this is the complaint. They don't pick up after their pets. They're going to put the dog in the trash cans on the golf course. My experience has been that well over 90% of Saddlebrook owners pick up after their pets. And I don't know whether people on the golf course know the difference between some of the different kind of poop, whose poop it really is.
Okay, I get it. I hate to make you walk back over there and walk back again. That'd be kind of silly. Do you have much more here?
Well, I've got a couple of things.
Okay, well, I'll tell you what, I think I'm
I
going
think
to
it's
cut you off.
applicable for the discussion since it's it's a hot button item. It's
Well,
like
yes, but
pickleball. The minute
honestly,
you start talking about
yeah,
pickleball.
I know, but taking 6 or 8 minutes to.
All right.
Are you in favor or against?
What's that?
Are you in favor or against?
Oh, I'm in favor of it.
Okay, there you go.
Okay.
Okay.
The other thing is on the it's interesting on the dog waste prohibited. I've been there that time, and I also play golf out there, and I have never seen a dog poop bag in the HOA1 golf courses since the time I've been here. Now, I don't inspect them all every day, but when I play golf or walk, I notice it. I saw one time where one person came up and tossed it in the bag, in that thing, and they said, "Hey, don't do that." They went and got it out.
Okay. Okay, I think we're done. We get it. Thank you. I'm sorry to cut you off, but, you're in favor.
Yeah, I am. There's a lot
Okay,
of
cool.
good
Dan?
points.
Go ahead.
Dan, I want to say one more thing.
Sure.
You can put me on 2 minutes. I won't talk 2 minutes. I know that surprises you. I appreciate the fact that we've been talking about this for 25 years. Because ever since HOA 1 said dogs on the course, okay. And this has come up many, many times to the board in the 15 years I've lived here. I hope that what Andy has proposed works. I hope you prove me wrong. Okay, and that's all we can ask. But what I've seen, people, and it's the 20%, like this gentleman said, it's not everybody, it's the 20%. Oh, my dog really needed to run. I've heard all. And please don't come and put fish on my front doorstep, or like my sister said, you're going to find a horse head in your bed. You're going to find a horse head in your bed like the Godfather. I said, it's fine. I just want what's best for Saddlebrook, and I know you do too. And I hope you all prove me wrong, the dog walkers.
Okay, thanks, Sean.
Dan, can I drag this out just a little bit longer?
Sure.
Just from the staff point of view, this isn't going to happen tomorrow, so don't run down there with your dog on a leash tomorrow. Give us some time to get the signs and get a little bit of marketing out there to remind people of what the rule is, and then we will let you know when we are ready to open the preserve for the dog walkers. But don't come rushing down tomorrow.
Good point, good point. And that's assuming this passes.
Correct.
Yeah, okay, cool. I just want to make that comment. Good, yeah. So,
Call for a vote.
So the next event will be, Walter will be telling us what's going on the next change. Okay. Nobody else has a comment, right? You've all had a chance. The board has had comments. So Ray, let's get on with it. Request that I'll make the motion of the board approve the recommended rule as you described to allow dogs to walk on the golf course. Do I have a second? It's all done? Oh, we already did that, sorry. I want to make sure this is good. So all in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed?
Aye.
One opposed. So we got 5 in favor, 1 opposed. So we don't need Denise in that regard. Okay. Hey, the dogs can walk on the golf course. Okay, that's at the end of our agenda. Ray, just again, thank you very much, and your committee. You guys did a great job. I think this was to me, a bit textbook on taking homeowner input, turning it into what is potential in terms of rules or guidelines for our community, and getting homeowner input to make that decision. So I feel like we just are doing what homeowners have told us is the right thing to do. So that's the important part. Upcoming events, we do have a board meeting on December 13th. Right now, I don't know what's on that agenda, and actually that thing may be in flux. We may cancel that board meeting, but more later on that. Right now it's on the agenda for December 13th. Any other comments from homeowners, or if not homeowners, but from the board before we adjourn? All right. I want to adjourn this meeting of the board and ask for homeowner comments on any subject. Again, you got 2 minutes, name and unit and lot number. So come on down if you got a comment. Let us know what's on your mind.
Kent Adams, Unit 25, Lot 6. Just a quick one. We were doing contractor evaluations and put them into HOA 1, HOA 2. HOA 1's process is all automated and immediately goes into place. I would suggest the board of 2 look at it, because right now the staff says, well, we can't get it in until the end of the year. It seems like we could just take the automated process. That's an example of what can be done by sharing between HOA 1 and HOA 2. Let's look at doing more things together. That's just one that came to mind.
Thanks, Ken. Walter, put that on you a little bit, because that contractor thing is a good thing to have consistency between the HOAs, certainly, because these guys drive around the same places. All right, come on down. Thank you, Kent.
Russ Soderberg, Unit 3546. I just wanted to say thank you to Joey for all the work he's done regarding the loop system here, the hearing loop system. It's been a problem for over 6 months. It is finally resolved, which makes anybody with a T-coil and a hearing aid much more able to use the Desert View Theater. I also want to thank you for requiring people to come down to the mic, because not only is it important for YouTube, but it's important for anybody who has a hearing aid and is trying to use the loop. So people coming from the audience thinking they have a strong voice doesn't work. I'd also ask, as you look at upgrading any of your audio systems in any of our locations, to take into consideration alternatives that can be used for the hard of hearing people. There are probably 60 to 70% of the people in Saddlebrook that have a hearing problem or wearing hearing aids. And our hearing support group is advocating for more of these things wherever we can put them in, not only to meet ADA requirements, but to make it better for people that have a hearing issue or a hearing problem. And it pays to get experts in to do some of these things. I'm not so sure some of the things that have been done in the past have been done with experts, but have been done with the lowest cost provider, and that doesn't always work. So thank you for supporting the hearing groups, people that have problems here, and more we can do going forward is even more beneficial. Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm with you. I'm a hearing aid user as well. So all good comments. Is there anyone else wants to, I didn't do it, and it bothers me that I didn't do it during our official meeting, and now it's after it's been adjourned. But I want to take a minute, just a second here, and thank Campbell Cheney for his work. The reason I'm doing it now is there may be a chance that we will not have the December 13th board meeting, and if that is true, this could be his last board meeting. And I just want to thank you, Campbell, for all your work. Oh my gosh, he's been such a valuable board member, a good friend of all of us, obviously, and so insightful and so capable. One of our, I've got two treasurers here, so I'm not going to rank 1, 2, and 3, but I will tell you, he ranks right with all of our treasurers in terms of capability. So, and I think you guys would agree to that comment, I'm sure. So I just want to thank you for that. I'm sorry you're not going to be with us. It is unfortunate that we have a group within Saddlebrook that has decided that their interests are far higher than the interests of our community. And I know that that group was opposed to your candidacy, and I'm very sorry for that. I think it was very short-sighted, and I'm upset with that, to be quite honest. But it is what it is, and their interest seems to trump the interest of our community. So we are where we are, and we'll move forward. But in the interim, thank you, Campbell, for all you've done, and we're hoping you're going to hang around and still help. So we're not looking to never see you again. So thank you, Campbell.
Thanks, Dan. Appreciate the sentiment.
All right, meeting's adjourned.
Birds flying high, you know how I feel. Sun in the sky, you know how I feel. Breeze drifting on by, you know how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life for me. And I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good. Fish in the sea, you know how I feel.